Hello, so for today I'll be demonstrating Project 2 from Part 1 and Part 2 project schema of our SQL data file. So if we click on the link to our website, it will display Welcome to the database of students. So enter your login details. For user ID, we have an admin and a student account. So for our group member, HRang is the admin. So if we log in him as the admin, it's going to say welcome user, admin menu, user management, student menu, and student management. We can also change the password with a new password. So for clicking on user management, the website will take us over to the admin page, displaying all of the contents of the users. So for the options, we have manage users and then manage students. So first, I'm gonna demonstrate the management of all users. So to view all users, we click on that, view all users. So we have our group members here. We're displayed in a table with user ID, password, and user's type. So 1 indicates that the user is an admin. If it is 0, then it is not an admin, indicating it is a student. We can view all users. We can also search for the user with their user's ID. So if I type in HRang, it's going to display his information. And if I type in parents, it's going to display his information as well. So we can also update users' information. So for my name, Johnny, we are going to use, let's say, Jonathan, name is Johnny, and user's type is a student. Update info. So it's going to display an Oracle error message because we haven't, it is working properly, but we haven't gotten it set up yet. We can also add user's information by entering in user ID, name, and user's type. So to add in a new user and then user's type, we would add information. It would display the same message error due to not implementing it into the PHP file yet. We can also delete a record, deleting a user from the table, and also reset user's password. So for example, if I reset HRang's password, the password will say password reset successfully. So to determine what our password is, it's going to display an update our table with the password default. So if I log out of his name, the password would be default. If you type in the previous password, it would be incorrect. So to change the password, we would just type in the password that we want and change password and change that password. It would display a message saying password updated successfully. Click back, send anyway. So admin menu, that's kind of all of the basics of what is in that menu. So if I go back, click on student management, we can look at the students' information here with the student table of student ID, their username, first name, last name, and all of their information of city, zip code, and to determine the status if they are on probation. We can also view the current schedule, course ID table of courses here, and to enroll in a section, we can look at the course table here of course IDs, max seats, course numbers. So for example, to enroll inside a course for the admin, it wouldn't let the admin enroll themselves, so students would have to enroll it for themselves. But the same functions are the same for student management as well as the users admin. So from a student's point of view, so for me, I am a student. It's gonna log in me into the students page of students menu. It's gonna display welcome users, student menu, and then change my password. So if I click on student management, it's gonna display my user, student ID, and my first and last name, my username, and my status on if I am on probation. It's gonna say no. So my current schedule is 1000 and 2000 course ID numbers here, and if I enroll inside a section, so for example, if I want to take application database system, the course ID would be 2000, so I would enter in 2000 and click enroll. It's gonna say you don't need to take this class, but if I try to take an upper division class such as 3000 for linear algebra, it's gonna say you don't have the prerequisite courses. So those are the two kind of display that they would say. I can view all sections. I can look up section by their year and section numbers. The section number is, I think, like the season is fall and spring. So year and season would be FAL. So for that year, there'd be no years for that. So for 2021 fall, it would display only those 3 seasons and year. So if I type in 2022 spring, it would display the courses displayed only for spring. I can also look at section by their section IDs, which is, I believe, like the course number. You have to type in the course number for that. So you can also drop a section, and then you can also reset user's name password. So if I log in as Herons, it'd be the same for student. His probation would be 0, so he's not on probation. Enroll in a section, it would all be the same. So to look at the information of each source code, we would log into the Oracle SSH server here. So for example, to display our users table, we would update and insert each of the students' name into the database of the SQL table. So to determine the status of probation, it would be like a 0 or 1. So the switch is, since all of these are 0, none of us are on probation. We can also update the course number, the course ID, the credits, and the prerequisites of each of the courses to determine if the student is eligible to enroll, such as the enrollment, course ID, student ID, and grade. And then to show our information of our trigger, here is our project part 1 and 2 schema of our SQL file. We have set up our prompt here to drop users and create a table here. This is what I mainly showed within the code. So our trigger is here. to create a trigger with our GPA updated after the student's courses are completed, and to calculate the average GPA. So if I look at, let me see, students management, we can see the Oracle error messages in getting that student ID here. So here, to calculate GPA here, we set student ID as the Oracle. We set up the Oracle SQL file as to select the sum of the student, the sum overall score of the credits divided by the sum in credits. So from where student ID is, it will determine their grade and GPA. So I think that is all that is mentioned. So that's it.